welcome to Shredded Cels episode 20. I am your host, Alex Schmitz, and with me here today is Gretchen Snyder.
Hey.
Andrew Gleason.
What's up?
And Clara Heimberger.
Hey.
Mr. Kenneth McNulty is also supposed to be on our crew for today. However, he's a little bit late, coming from a class. And, academics come first, so we'll give him a pass in this case. So hopefully he'll be here pretty soon. And for those of you who are listening to us for the first time, we are a group on Ohio University's campus called Tech Heads, which is part of AVW Productions, a media production organization here at Ohio University. And we are the anime podcast. We do lots of different episodes on various shows. And for this week, we're going to be talking about the 2012 anime Kids on the Slope, which is directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, and the music is composed by Yoko Kanno, both of whom did those same tasks on the famous show Cowboy Bebop. So when I had heard that, way back in probably April of last year, I'd heard that this show was coming out, and it was directed by, those two people were collaborating on it, and I immediately knew that I needed to see this show when it came out because I love Cowboy Bebop so much. Now, for those of you who are listening, we haven't done an episode since our Thanksgiving break, so I think it's been a good 3 weeks since our last podcast that we did on nostalgic animation. So what sort of animated shows have you guys been watching since last time?
My friend got me into the show. It's called Say I Love You, so it's like a really cheesy kind of romance one, but it's done really well. And right now I think it has 10 episodes, and I've seen about 8.
Nice. And this is an anime?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Andrew?
I finished Gurren Lagann, finally.
Oh, yeah. Last time I talked to you, you were up to episode 25, and I told you that the last 2 episodes were the coolest episodes.
And they were. They were great. That was a great show, and my friend showed me the first, 3 or 4 episodes of Code Geass.
Oh, yeah?
And, yeah, that's...
Do you like it so far?
Yeah, it's good. The only thing is, I'm pretty sure the main character is evil. It's just the way he looks.
Yeah.
And he just looks evil to me. He's giving me that evil vibe.
Evil is it's very, I don't know how to say it, but it's
Subjective.
That's a word I could use.
Yeah.
Subjective.
Also the chess
Word.
metaphor.
Yeah.
That's
just
that doesn't go
Lelouch.
away, by the way.
That's just
The
there.
English voice actor for Lelouch plays Ichigo in Bleach.
And he's also the voice of Vash the Stampede in Trigun. Johnny Young Bosch is his name. He's one of the best voice actors out there.
And the character who plays, the guy who does Lloyd's voice also does Gaara in Naruto. And I love hearing Lloyd and just picturing Gaara.
Yeah,
in that.
fun-
It's so great.
Fun fact, speaking of Gurren Lagann, I think we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but the guy, Liron, the scientist dude who is very feminine, is voiced by, oh God, no, I'm blanking on his name. Steve Blum, who voices Spike Spiegel and
He's in everything.
Amon and all these, really gruff-sounding, awesome badasses.
Manly men.
Yes, which is pretty cool. But no, you make a good point, obviously, with Code Geass. Lelouch, really, he is sort of the villain of the show, but I often compare Code Geass to Death Note, and that they both sort of have this villain-protagonist thing going on. But whereas with Death Note, it's very obvious that Light is the villain. He's murdering people, and he really doesn't have... much.
He doesn't really have a motive to start doing this just because he can.
He has
Such a good show.
He has a motive, but it doesn't redeem him really in any way.
Right, but it doesn't affect him personally. It's not like his family was killed by this person and he went after them. It's I can just end people's lives.
He just really has nothing else to do.
Yeah, God complex.
Yeah, but whereas Lelouch, he actually has a reason for what he's doing, and the ending of the entire show, 50 episodes down the road, really explains that.
Don't forget R2.
But he does that's what I'm talking about. But he definitely does some evil things and is not exactly the nicest person out there.
No. It's funny, though, because my friend described Code Geass as Death Note with giant robots. And I'm like, I haven't watched Death Note, but I like giant robots, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest giant robot fan, but the mechs in Code Geass aren't the coolest in my opinion, but the animation during them is always pretty amazing.
I don't know. I was impressed.
Yeah, although they start OPing the mechs quite a bit later on the show. And I see a form walking towards us. It's Kenneth McNulty.
And you brought me
Oh,
drinks.
gifts.
He's brought Mountain
I
Dew
love
for
a
us.
Mountain Dew.
A bit extra. I tried to grab just yeah, one, and my teacher was like, grab 6, dude. Don't be that guy.
Cool. Well, Kenny
Right.
brought me Mountain Dew, so that's all that matters in life now.
Just be careful to keep it away from the mics is all.
All right, how was your miss?
We just started like 10 minutes ago or so.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, I was in the middle of doing
Can you talk into the mic real quick?
Hello, I'm back from my Arabian Nights. I was helping in a cross-cultural thing, so I'm neat.
Are you
That's
neat?
exciting.
Yeah, I was expanding my thing. I felt like a traitor though, because I'm not taking Arabic next year, and they all were, and they yelled at me. So, and I got looked in the eyes. My teacher's like, "You didn't do well on your quiz yesterday." So
Aw.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's all right. I got an 8 the first time out of 30. And
Yes. For those of you listening, this is Kenneth McNulty, the guy I foreshadowed earlier in the show.
So
That's right.
mysterious.
Oh, is it? I mean, not this. It's fine.
Yeah. Watch out for your XLR there, Andrew. Don't want to touch that.
That is my bad. I'm sorry.
That's
I was
okay.
just reaching for Kenny's.
We forgive you.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, we're talking about the animated shows that we've watched since our last podcast, which was a good 3 weeks ago. So Andrew just finished telling his. So Clara, why don't you tell us?
I haven't had a lot of time to watch anything besides Kids on the Slope because of papers and
Yes, it is finals week is coming up for us here, so we're all a little busy.
other stressful things. So mostly just Kids on the Slope, but for the past couple days I have been learning how to play Minecraft. So I'm kind of proud of myself because I'm not totally dying all over the place.
I love Minecraft.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
I fought the Ender Dragon the other day by cheating.
You
but
did?
We cheated the whole time, but I mean, it was still pretty
you
interesting.
beat it?
Yeah, of course.
So, I'm just making sure.
The credits take forever. It's
They have
just-
credits?
Yeah, it's like the whole story of Minecraft.
Dang
Everyone
Disney.
go beat the Ender Dragon and get the credits.
I know.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I don't know that much about Minecraft, but I do know that they've obviously every time they've updated it, they've sort of made it more of a traditional game. You know, they actually added more enemies and actually gave you a quest to go
XPs,
on.
yeah, there's actually really cool what they've done, especially the mods. Because I
I
went
love
to a
enchanting things.
XP modded world, yeah, cool stuff.
Nice. And Mr. McNulty, what have you been watching?
I'm in the same boat as Clara over here. I only really watched Kids in the Slope. I've been playing, game-wise, just Far Cry. Now, I guess you can count that as watching videos in that game, but I haven't really watched anything else, unfortunately.
I see. I'm very disappointed in you. Oh, and as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, Mr. McNulty over here, I was informed, has only watched up to episode 7
Who told you that?
Chris.
Chris is a betrayer! Well, I read up the rest of them, so I know how every other one ended, so I know how it all ended and exactly what happens. So I know where I caught myself up. It's my bad.
I know.
You still need to watch it though.
Yeah,
No, I'm still gonna finish.
You
Okay.
do need to watch it because I feel bad because we're good by spoiling what happens later.
No, I know what happens.
And
I read everything.
Well, I know you know what happens, but you still spoiled yourself versus actually just watching the show
Oh,
naturally.
yeah. When I was reading it, though, I was freaked out as I read everything.
All the
I was like,
feels.
why did you leave?
So many feels.
Yes, we'll get to that in
I
a
was
moment.
upset. Yeah, that was all the feels.
But for me, what have I been watching? I watched. Yes, absolutely nothing. No, I watched.
Not even this, what we're talking about.
I've obviously watched Kids on the Slope. I've also got into. There's nice Mountain Dew there, Kenny. By the way, I like how you still have your name tag that says, "Hello, my name is Kenneth."
K to the Kenneth. Sorry, I forgot I was wearing that. I added that last 10 minutes of the thing because we found him in the back.
That's lovely.
That's pretty amazing.
It's cool stuff.
But no, I've been watching Kids on the Slope, and then I recently, one of my favorite anime reviewers, her name is Yezu Otaku. I watched her review of Madoka Magica, which is the show that I've heard of for quite a long time.
I saw that featured on Crunchyroll, I think.
Yeah, it's actually very popular, both in more so in Japan than in America, obviously, but still, it's actually a really good show. Just watching the review, the visuals of the show are really interesting because it's more of a traditionally animated show, but then when it goes in the magical world, it's these sort of stop motion thing where it's paper cutouts, it sort of looks like, and it's a really unique visual style to it. And the animation is gorgeous, obviously, but apparently what it is, because what I'd heard about it earlier, but what made me not want to watch it was because it's a magical girl show, a la Sailor Moon and all of those other cutesy girly shows that I quite disdain. But apparently this, after watching Yezu Otaku's review, she showed some images, not really explaining what they were, but I know for a fact that there's some pretty serious stuff coming down the road in this show, because apparently it's basically one of the few shows, in her opinion, and she's this critic, so she knows what she's talking about usually, that could be considered like a true like tragedy, like a Shakespearean or a Greek tragedy, because the core element in a tragedy is that you have a character who's got positive aspects in almost every facet, but they have one sort of flaw. The fatal flaw. Yes, that leads to their downfall. And apparently this show has that, and like it's sort of a deconstruction of the magical girl whole genre and everything.
See, it's cool, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
It's only 12 episodes long. It's on Hulu. I've gotten through episode 4, and I want to watch more of it. So
I definitely think the worst fatal flaw is being the best runner in the world, but no feet. Worst.
How would that work? You're just hovering above the ground?
Best runner in the world,
You have
dude.
nubs.
Yeah. The best nub runner in the world, not foot runner.
That would be the weirdest thing.
Or you could
God.
you could get mechanical feet.
You're right. Depending on the universe.
Yeah.
Well, get anything you want.
Even in here, you got the people with mechanical legs.
I'll
Think
cut my
about
foot
it.
off. It's my dream to get a mechanical
No.
limb since I was like 3.
I have to agree. Take the
Like,
Deus
once
Ex
they
route.
have Deus Ex like limbs, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm cutting my arm off in an unfortunate accident. Mechanical stuff.
They had that camp in Deus Ex. It's like, the one that doesn't support robot arm. I'm like, I'm going to side with the ones who can throw vending machines at
Yeah,
people.
seriously. And then once you find out your arm doesn't agree with you, you're like, oops. But anyways.
Here we go. Moving on from mechanical arm conversation. Just so all of you out there know, we will be spoiling Kids on the Slope. So if you have not seen the show, you may want to stop now. Although I think we can all say right now that you should definitely go watch it because it is a very good show.
It is.
So yes, as I mentioned earlier, this is a 2012, so very recent anime. It's the studios that were involved are MAPPA and Tezuka Productions. And the manga that it's based off of was done by Yuki Kodama. So apparently, from what I haven't read that much on this, but apparently the manga sort of expands on certain subplots a bit more and gives like the ending more time to develop.
always
Clarifies
does.
things more. Whereas the anime is a bit more rushed.
Yeah, it's only 12 episodes, which worked really well. I didn't expect that for the show. That'd be more like 24 episodes.
I liked it though.
Yeah,
No,
it's perfect.
No, I thought it was a good length.
Yeah.
I mean, they certainly could have extended it more, with like them doing various performances and, extending the love triangle stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the pacing was good though for this because it was already pretty. I mean, I wouldn't say it's extended, but I feel like we already waited a while with the 12 episodes, so I was like ready for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if they played too many shows, it would have been too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Would've
think it would
been
have just been like filler.
Stop.
lost interest. So I liked it. 12 was perfect for it.
Yeah, 12 was good. I mean,
How many mangas do they actually have though? Issues?
9
Nine?
volumes.
Awesome. Bad volume,
So
yeah.
not that many in the big scheme of things. But yeah, why don't we talk about just our first impressions of the show? Because personally, for me, like the first time I saw the opening, I thought it was like a cool opening, but it didn't really strike me as like that amazing. And the first episode, it's a good first episode, but there's really not that much like of the music element in it, so it doesn't draw you in right away. Or at least through the music element, it's really going more for establishing these characters and like getting you invested in their story. So what did you guys think of the first episode?
I liked the first episode. I thought the main character, that was probably actually the most engaging. One of the most engaging parts about it was the main character
I
in the
loved how
beginning.
he was so wimpy.
Yeah.
Like, I loved how wimpy he was.
But you can identify with him
Yeah,
if you
you-
were like that outcasty kind of kid.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good way to introduce him. I mean, well, yeah, exactly how he is. And the thing is, they didn't throw in the jazz right away because I feel like, I mean, it'd be cool if they threw it right in, but you're right, it's good to get the character set up. And, the second episode was way more focused on that.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when they threw in the jazz, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, they did kind of like hint it with him and drumming with the sticks. And
Yeah.
like, yeah.
It was cool to see how dark and mysterious the other characters were at first. You're like, ooh, these guys are interesting.
And then there's that like stereotypical really nerdy kid who's always in the class like, oh my god, you like
Yeah.
trains,
His
man.
voice. His
Oh my God, I
voice.
love that.
Fun fact, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but we're skipping ahead here a bit, but in the 12th episode, when Karu, that's his name, right? Yeah, Karu, when he gets on the train, the guy who's like the conductor outside of the train is that guy.
What?
You can tell it's him.
Or
Yeah.
is it his dad?
Aw.
Yeah, it's actually, I thought that was a nice
Oh,
touch.
you mean future.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the nerdy kid in the
I'm
future.
gonna have to go
That's
look
so
at that
awesome.
again.
No,
That's-
Screen cap.
that's-
Yeah, they don't really point it out, but I love there. It's like an Easter egg.
A little thing,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cute.
But yeah, I liked it because like it was a bit exposition heavy, as first episodes tend to be, with like his whole flashback on like, his dad's out in the Navy, and he and how he's moved schools, and he gets like this sickness, whenever he's like gets nervous.
Anyone else kind of upset that we didn't actually see him get sick?
Yeah, he
it was like,
once.
I'm gonna throw up, and then he just runs everywhere,
I
and it
kind of
never
forgot
happens.
about it, and then they brought it up somewhere around the 9th or 10th episode.
Yeah, again.
He said I didn't get sick anymore,
Yeah, that's the
and
7th episode.
I was confused at first.
Because like you never really see him get sick in
I
the
forgot
first
about
place.
it.
Because
You
you see
said
like
that.
flashbacks of him like
Yeah.
hunched over on the ground. You assume he gets sick, but we like never see it. Like establishing like, oh, this kid is a weakling.
Personally, for me, I thought
He's
just
a
seeing
baby.
him, clutch his stomach and like have to run up to the roof and all that, establish it
Why
enough. I
didn't he
did.
go to the bathroom?
Because then people might be there and make fun of him.
Yeah, the whole idea was like going up to the roof. That was something he'd done at his old school. There was nobody there. He could get like fresh air and get away from people.
Yeah, where are the teachers during all this? The nurse wasn't in. Teachers were never there. I mean, you never saw them. It was like Charlie Brown.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! How like they just go
Yes.
to school and play card games.
They were
Yeah.
they were there a couple times. Like there's that bit in the 12th episode where he's like talking with his teacher, and he's like, "Oh, your grades have improved since
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
impediment to your studies disappeared."
Hope you weren't friends with him or anything.
Yeah, that was a dick move by
That
that
was.
teacher.
Yeah. One thing I did like though about the first episode, now that I think about it, if they just stepped into jazz and showed that to you, you'd be like, okay, I'm expecting this for the whole show. But more of that, when you see more of the building up and the more intense stuff, like, okay, if you like it from that point, then you'll like the show no matter what. But if you don't like that as much and just see the jazz and then they have an episode all about that intense stuff, you may not like it as much because you didn't see it the first episode.
Yeah, I think that's good. And like something I like is how they spend some time, establishing this whole like sickness thing, and then they're able to bring it up again very quickly. Like I think it's in like episode 5 when Sentaro agrees to go be in the rock band with the other kid, and he just like clutches his stomach, and that's all that happens. But immediately like, oh, he's feeling abandoned again.
Yeah, he hates change. Isn't that it? Like, it's something like that?
He definitely has like separation issues.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we said he had abandonment issues.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think helps explain, like, Andrew, you've mentioned how
His violent mood swings.
he has these mood swings.
He got like
kind of-
vehement in that
It's
episode.
like PMSing all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just get so mad out of nowhere.
And every character blushes at least 10 times an episode per
know.
minute. It's
It's the
Especially
animation.
Rico.
The
The
animation
super
in this
blush.
show in general is like really, it's not like the best you've ever seen, but it's very
it's
solid.
different. That's why I
Yeah,
liked it.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. The only part about it I didn't like was the blush. Like it's constant even on the male characters.
But it still it shows that the emotion they're having. I guess it just reiterates what it is exactly.
I guess.
I mean, after a while, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But I think that part of the reason he has those emotional mood swings, and some of them like really can't be explained that much. Like one in the 12th episode that I'll go into later. But a lot of them just have to do with the fact that like he feels like his friends are leaving him, and he's obviously has some pretty deep rooted psychological issues. But versus other like psychologically damaged characters like our favorite Shinji Ikari from Evangelion.
Can't do anything.
Exactly. He's like completely useless. Whereas Karo,
Yes.
like most of the time, he's fine and he's able to interact with his friends fine, and he's obviously very proficient in what he does with
He
piano
gets
and all
significantly
that.
better. You can tell. Like he's
yeah.
not an introvert. I mean, obviously, it's part of the show. Him
He tries so
evolving.
hard with his little piano when no one's home.
He did so well. I thought his mom was going to walk in on him when he was practicing.
He's like, "What are you
He doesn't
doing?"
get busted, but he didn't.
Yeah,
And his cousin.
I thought
No.
I thought when because she's in like either the first or second episode when she like asks him to play, and then his aunt
"Play
shows
for
up,
me."
and then she's like, "Oh, why would you play?"
Yeah, she said she'd take the hit for him too.
and she didn't.
She was the
Didn't.
worst. Yeah.
And I thought that would be like more of a recurring element, like
Him being
that,
bullied?
Well, that and then like just the whole family element in general, because like in episode 5, like he just offhandedly mentions like, oh, and then my dad came back.
Yeah, that was kind of
but,
he's building up the
BT
whole
dubs.
show, and then he
BT
blew it
dubs.
off. I mean, I knew he's depressed.
well, yeah, but still, the point is like his dad like being gone seemed to be this kind of important thing, and then he comes back, but he's
It's
like never
such-
mentioned in the show again. He's not really important.
Yeah, other than when he hands him the letter about his mom, it was a really small thing. I was expecting a huge thing when his dad came back.
Right.
I didn't even know if he would come back,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Right.
I don't think any of the characters deal with their emotions very well. Like, they always just run away from each other.
Yeah.
They, like, insult each other, and then they run away. Like, you're stupid.
Yeah, they keep
It depends. Like there's that one episode where I think it's in episode 3. I want to say where, Karu like he sees Sentaro. It's one of those emotional moments where it's like, why are you yelling at him? Because he just sees him with his family, like all of the.
Oh, he gets really
kids.
jealous.
And he gets jealous and says like, you have this happy family and you have a place
yeah.
in the house and I don't. Blah blah blah. And then Sentaro comes and shows him like that photo
Dude, he
album.
one-upped him, man.
Yeah.
He like
Pretty-
wrecked him.
It's like, oh.
His life was awful.
Yeah, that seems to be how this is just the thing in anime in general. But you feel one way about a character, and you're like, oh, I don't want to be friends with that guy. That's true with Sentaro, and then it was true with the rock star kid because you sort of think like, oh, he's kind of weird.
Give me
But
bad
then
vibes.
he gives you, he gave me bad vibes too.
Matsuoka.
Was that his name?
Yeah.
Okay, but then you get like he tells Sentaro like how he has this dream of being a rock star and how his family is poor and
He's a star in his undies.
yeah, that's
That
right.
was hilarious.
And all of that, and that gets Sentaro. That's what gets him to agree. It's not really the music or anything.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that moment when he realized that he was in love with Sentaro, and that never happened, and I was kind of disappointed.
Actually, it's funny, because that's what
So I
my
was
friend,
like, I'm getting that vibe from you.
that's what my friend called. Like I was describing the show to my friend, and he's like, it's gonna be the main character and Sentaro. Those two are gonna end up together.
For a second,
right?
actually,
That was my
it crossed my
headcanon
mind.
for
I
a
was
little
like,
bit.
Remember the first time he like sees Sentaro,
It's like,
and they
Yeah.
have that
My
like
angel.
really
Yeah.
like beautiful.
when they were holding
moments.
hands for a bit when he grabbed him after the performance, they were
Yeah.
like holding for a while. The way he looked at him, I was like, oh.
I'm like, wait. I'm like, wait, is
In
this
love.
foreshadowing something?
Actually, I found a thing
I
on
think they're secretly in
Tumblr
love.
that was like a show you think should be a yaoi, and somebody put kids on the slope.
Yeah.
Well,
I
That's
can
it.
see it.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, there's definitely some undertones there, but actually, one of my favorite quotes, like from the whole series, I think it's something like it then sort of encapsulates like what the show is about at the same time. It's something like Brother June says, I think, to Sentaro and Karo, like right before he leaves. It's like, unlike love, friendship lasts
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. I remember that. I almost did that everywhere. I was like, oh no.
Oh no, we almost hit the Mountain Dew. But I
Yeah.
think that's really the point, is like, especially the finale, those like that last 5 minutes and the episode 12, like that really sort of got to me as far as like, it's a show, and it spends a lot of time with the love triangles and everything. But at the end of the day, it's really about the friendship between Karo and Sentaro. That's the
Yeah.
focal point.
One thing I like though, one of the smaller things, but when what's his name again, the rock star kid,
Matsuoka.
Matsuoka, when he gave
Sentaro.
Sentaro what? So when he gave him the albums, I saw a Beatles album, I flipped, and I was like, dude, and I got so excited. I saw the Beatles.
And
Speaking
everyone
of-
was like, whatevs, Beatles. And he's like, if only jazz was allowed here. And
My
I'm
favorite
like,
was
hey.
when they did Sound of Music and the way
Yes.
they would say it in English. I
That was so
played it.
cute. I
when they
love
sang in
English.
English. No, I loved that. Yeah, when they sang in
Oh,
English.
cute.
When Brother June sung in English, he was good at it. He was
Yeah,
legit.
Oh, yeah,
Everyone
that
else
part was
not
good.
like him from the beginning, like I did. I don't know. I just didn't like him.
I
at
liked
all.
him because he was that cool guy, but later on, I was like,
I
Yeah, it
knew
got
something
weird.
like that was going to happen
well,
with
yeah.
him. Oh, God.
Well,
He's
right when I
that
saw
guy.
Yuki's reaction to him, I knew. I mean, you're like, well, she's gonna totally kiss him. So
Yeah, well, I liked him, but basically, as a general rule for fiction in general, whenever there's a like mentor character that another character looks up to and thinks is like perfect, and they want to be that person always has some sort of downfall or twist about their character that you don't expect.
yeah, like hiding in that
Basically,
dark basement, watching them about to kiss.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
That was
creepy.
weird.
But
Oh, hi there. Don't let me interrupt you.
and that was uncool
Yeah,
of
the way
June
he
to like.
Go right
reacted was
ahead.
weird.
Just
Go
gonna
right ahead. I'm
watch.
just going to watch it from down here.
But that's so uncool of June to totally steal like his like
Yeah.
brother's girlfriend. No, I know they weren't really brothers, but they were like,
No, I get what you mean.
yeah, they were like brothers, and
Yeah.
he
He
totally stole his girlfriend. I'm like, that's uncool,
Well,
man.
but he wasn't really going out with her though. They obviously had an attraction, but he hadn't actually really made a move on her at that point.
But he still kissed her, man.
In the basement that one time,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The worst.
That's kind of true. I do feel bad for Sentaro because he after like Brother June goes with Eureka, he never like gets another romantic love interest again.
Then he becomes
Yeah,
a
he does
priest.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he takes her on the train. That's right. Yeah, he just pulls her on like, come with me.
Yeah.
He was like,
Well, I
all right.
mean, he found out that she was going to be, like, put in a marriage
That's
against her
true.
will, and then he was like, oh.
If that, and like pulled her. Yeah, it was last second he pulled
I
her
actually
on.
thought like
I thought it was cute,
I didn't
though.
care.
Yeah.
I didn't care that much for June and Eureka originally, but like as they developed it more, like around that episode 7, episode 8 time frame,
episode-
I actually started caring for them, and I actually thought that sort of end where like he's about to leave, and then he sees her parents like yelling about the engagement or whatever, and she's crying. and then like cuts away, and you hear the train leaving, but you don't know what happened, and then boom, she's in the train with him. I actually thought that was a really like poignant way to end that sort of relationship.
I was upset when she cut her hair. I really liked her with long hair.
Yeah, me too.
And then she's like, "No, I'm gonna cut my hair off just
out
cause. Just
of
cause.
nowhere.
Hope you don't mind. We can use your scissors."
She's being rebellious.
But she didn't even donate that. Just threw it away.
Seriously, she could put good use to that.
I know she could
There you
donated
go.
that.
She couldn't even look in the mirror, and she cut it like perfectly
I
straight
know,
all
I
around.
mean-
That's like all anime, like when Sakura cuts her hair with a shirt. And it's like
Yeah.
perfect. I was like, no. When I
It
saw
doesn't
that.
work. I'm gonna
Or
try that later.
like
and it's
in-
not gonna work.
in Gurren Lagann when what's her name Yoko shoots what's her face
There's a character named What's Her Face?
Oh, the
the princess.
Or no, and he
she
shoots through her hair.
through her
What?
hair.
And then he shoots all her hair off.
I'm guessing it comes out looking great.
Yeah,
it does.
Shoots her
Okay.
hair off.
Yeah.
There's a part
Makes
like
sense.
that
Well, her
in
hair's
Castle in
made
the
of-
Sky when that guy shoots the main character's pigtails off, and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
just standing there like, "Whatevs, man." And he's like, "Oh, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna shoot your
If
pigtails off."
I had Mark Hamill, was it Mark Hamill that did it?
he was the villain
The
voice
main,
actor.
yeah, if
in
he
that.
shot me, I wouldn't flinch. I'd be too in awe.
I will say this is one of the reasons why I like having females on this podcast, because I was not thinking about like how is she cutting her hair so straight without a mirror while I was watching that scene.
I was.
I was like, "Wait a
didn't
minute,
cross my
no."
mind.
What?
But fun fact,
come through.
this is something I didn't realize when I was watching the show, but I looked up on like a wiki of some sort. Apparently, you never see Eureka's parents' eyes. Like whenever they're shown, you see like they're like from their eyes down or like.
Yeah, you never
know,
see their face.
You never see their full face, which I thought was an interesting
Wah,
touch,
wah,
since
wah.
that's the only characters that's really applied to.
I mean, like they are just supposed to be like these powerful, like people in her life that like are almost like they're just completely in control of her life, and so we're not supposed to like be able to see them as human, I guess.
Yeah.
Like without seeing their faces, and like, oh, they're not really like people. They're not.
Yeah, it shows them as villains.
Yeah, they're villains. You don't know what they look like. You can't connect
face
with
to it.
them.
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to mention, because like you were saying, Andrew, there are moments, where Karo seems like a pretty nice protagonist, but there are other moments where he either has this little emotional outburst or does something kind of creepy. And one of those moments came when, like right after they met Eureka, and he comes up to the roof where Centro is. He's like reading off like all of her information, like where she lives, what
Like, how
room
did he
she's
find
in.
that out?
It's
So
like
strange.
that's
This
really
before
creepy.
Facebook. I don't know how he got that.
No, it's the year
That was my first thought.
1968. They don't have
Wait, that's
face.
the 60s?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's a calendar
66.
somewhere.
That's
Yeah.
why they had record stores. Wondering how that was in business still.
Well, they still have record stores nowadays.
I know, but I was wondering how.
Yeah, there's
so
one on
well.
Court
It took
Street.
me a little while for
Exactly.
that.
I did. I thought it was modern day. Where have
No.
I been?
No,
It's the
there's a
60s. Explains
calendar
the
one.
Yeah, that's why the
Oh my
Beatles thing
God.
was so popular.
Yeah.
Oh, he said John Coltrane just died. I'm like, he's been dead for years. That explains so much.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize it when I was watching the show, kind of like you, Kenny. But in retrospect, yeah, I mean, there's
It makes perfect sense.
yeah, it's not like a big city. Obviously, it's still a pretty small town.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But
I explained so much.
Wow, I feel weird now. I think an existential moment.
yeah, but and we mentioned the fact that there wasn't really that jazz in the first episode, and it didn't. It didn't try to hook you in with that. It hooked you more with the relationships.
Yeah.
But I think it's in episode 2. Like that's the first time you really get that when like all of them are jamming down there when like Brother
That was
June
so
comes.
good.
And basically, like any time that they're jamming down that basement is like a highlight of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
because Yoko Kanno does such a good job with the soundtrack.
And the animation, you can obviously tell they spend the most time during those scenes because I always know it kicks up and you can tell it's really well done for the instruments because they're actually doing everything that
So,
sounds
like, I
like.
wonder if maybe they recorded someone doing that.
That's
and
what
just
it looks
drew over
like.
it because it looks like it was rotoscoped, but I really don't know.
Same with the people who in one episode I noticed when they wave people to come with them, they look like really organic movement, not drawn in. So there's some things that look like, they were drawing over that, and I really liked that.
Yeah. Well, I get the feeling that they, maybe when Yoko Kanno was like composing and performing the music, they videotaped it just to see like what it looked like exactly.
Yeah, and that's my favorite part, whenever they jam, because I love the music. I love jazz. So, I mean, that sounded so cool. And the way they did it all, it was just...
Well, and I read a little article that was about like about this series because every episode name is named after a jazz song, and some of them are like used like Moanin', that's like the first thing that they play. And apparently like all of the things that they play in the show are some of them are, they do like the medleys, and those are obviously like combinations of things and improvisation. But all the main songs are real songs, and a lot of them are like from famous points or famous people in like jazz music history. So if you're like a buff for that, then there's a whole other level of the show for you to understand that most people won't get. Another point I'd sort of thought about the show is just in general, the writing in it would seem to range quite a bit for me, because at some points it would do some like really brilliant stuff, like that thing I mentioned where how Centro like explains his past, like I thought that was really well done, and there's some good dialogue moments or good writing moments in general that surprise you. And then there are other moments where it gets really sort of more cliche or exposition heavy or what have you. What did you guys think of the writing overall, the dialogue?
I actually, I liked it. I mean, it was really from what I could, when I was reading it, obviously subtitles, I was really impressed. Even the translation, like, it was well done. You're right. There were some moments where, maybe a little cheesy, but I thought it was pretty unique. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's see, what else did I have here? I did feel like the world that they establish here, it feels a little bit small, in my opinion, because you get like...
They don't go many places.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of obvious. I don't mean like physically, because obviously it's a small town.
Yeah.
But
All we need is
you
this
meant.
basement. That's all we need.
What I mean is like... but like, in a world like, Naruto or One Piece or whatever, like they have tons of characters and things.
Oh.
Whereas like in this,
It's
like
a tight-knit cast.
yeah, that's the thing. Like they don't really introduce that many characters. It's like the four mains, a couple side characters, and then they seem to run into each other by coincidence in every episode. It's like Karu's at a place and then Ritsuko happens to be there at the exact same time.
Yeah, I always noticed it's always really
yeah.
convenient, and they always have those like really mean seniors everywhere. They're always like, "Yeah, you're stupid," and then
And he found her sitting on the bench knitting that one time.
Yeah.
She just happened to be there.
Maybe the town is just like only like one block
Yeah,
wide.
seriously.
That's just that big.
did the kids that Sentaru beat up in the beginning, did they ever come back again? The one he knocked his tooth out?
Actually, yeah, the
Yeah,
guy
he's
with
in the
the
band,
with the
isn't
mole was in the band.
He
was in the
that's why
band.
he didn't want to be in the band so badly. I was wondering if I recognized him. I knew he's reoccurring.
Yeah, he got his tooth fixed.
Yeah, because I really liked the fights were actually pretty well done when you did see them. They weren't a big part of the show, obviously, but they were exciting. I liked them. Like when they both fought together in the second episode.
And he,
To prove he wasn't like
he
wimpy.
didn't even help at all.
Yeah,
He fell and started splashing water.
No, he actually was a distraction.
He
His
was.
failure distracted them. So
And then I don't think he ever lost a fight.
Sentaro?
Yeah, Sentaro didn't.
No,
he
he-
destroyed everyone. You always saw him like at the end of a fight for the rest of the thing, just knocking someone out. And he's
Yeah.
like just working out and left. Like, why are you fighting the first day of school?
yeah, pretty much.
Just cause, man.
What he does? Where do you get a
That's
scar?
how I
by
say
the way?
hello.
I don't. Yeah, they never explain that, do they? How he got
I
this
think-
little scar on his cheek.
I think it was like that fight he had as a little kid, because then
That's
he
what-
had like
he
a
had
little
the
bandage
scratch,
on
yeah.
there, and then it became a scar.
That was creepy. When his grandma.
Oh, I don't like his
That was
grandma.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was like, "Man, I'm
She
gonna
was
put
the
my blood
worst.
on your face."
Yeah, I was like,
hope you don't
why?
mind.
That
And
part
then
was
dad
creepy.
walked in.
And he was like, "You
But he-
killed your grandma."
He had a good reunion with his dad though. Later
yeah.
on.
Well,
Yeah.
that was something I found kind of interesting because, like, they. First of all, I think it's a little strange that the dad would immediately assume, like, oh, the kid killed
Yeah,
the
no.
grandma just
Yeah, that
because
made no
he's got
sense to me.
blood on his clothes.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, come on, guys.
I was so sad. He was like, "Dad, I want to hold your hand." He was like,
Yeah,
"Nope."
and he shoved away. I was like, really?
I'm like, "Oh."
So literally his life was the worst.
I was
Right.
really sad when the little girl was talking about how she didn't want the dad to come back because he had been
Oh,
like
A
a
drunk.
drunk. Yeah.
Sachiko,
Right.
yeah, Sachan.
Yeah, that was cute. But I was wondering what you guys thought of this because the whole, like, there's that whole bit where Sentaro is gonna leave. He's gonna like run away from home before the dad comes home, and Karo obviously stops him in the end.
How long was he waiting out there?
Yeah,
First
that's
of
what
all,
I-
it's
that's what I
like,
was thinking.
Long
when
enough.
He shows up. I'm like, how long were you standing there?
Yeah,
You see
all
food
night,
wrappers behind him.
I guess. But it felt a little bit out like a bit of an overreaction to me because he's obviously feels very responsible and supportive of his siblings and of his mom and all
Is that
that.
his real mom, by the way? Because I was really confused to who that was.
I think that's his real
Yeah.
mom. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Because for a
She's
second I was
she's
like,
not. I mean, she's only in like 3 scenes, I think, of the whole show.
okay, yeah.
But I felt a little like he was overreacting a bit, where he's like, "Well, I have to run away from home now that my dad's coming home because he's gonna hate me, obviously, and I can't stand for that."
And
He's
his
a little bit of a
dad's
drama queen.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah,
he
they both are.
like half to his brothers and sisters because he's half American, half Japanese because the soldier? Like, or is his dad the soldier? Because I don't think he
no,
was.
his mom, I think, had an affair with the soldier
Yeah,
and
and
made Sentaro, and then she had more children with,
With
a
his
dad.
actual, that's what I thought, because his dad, that's why he was a stepdad, or technically, yeah.
I guess so. Well, see, that seems like that would be more of a logical reason for the dad to hate him, versus the grandma.
Yeah, because he's
dad
found him
thing.
before. He's like, you stole my son, so rada, and then that thing. So, yeah.
Rada.
Rada.
I
So
haven't seen Chowder in forever.
Yeah, we should do that over
We should
Christmas
watch
break.
Chowder.
that struck me
See
as
me do some squats.
that was a little out of place. And what did you guys think of the whole bit where, because, as much as Kaoru was sort of this stereotypical, like, geeky character who's smart but is shy and doesn't talk to people, is socially awkward, you have to admire the fact that he has the guts to, confess his love for his girlfriend in episode 3, whereas in many shows it takes the hero a whole season, before they get to that point.
And then he doesn't completely run off when she says no.
And he kisses her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that was
he
a bold
did
move.
kind of.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that. I don't know. Maybe that's just
Yeah.
me, but I was like, you need to take a couple steps backwards, sir.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, it's the
Calm
thing. Like,
down.
there are moments where like he just spontaneously gets really horny and goes in for a kiss.
He does.
It seems
I
like
mean, he fantasized about it in the first episode like crazy. You keep seeing him going like, he zones out. It's just a fantasy scene. He comes back. I was like, whoa.
That's what girls are like here.
actually, I actually thought those were kind of funny. Like when he imagined how he was going to go on this romantic date with her to the beach, and then Centauro's there.
Yeah.
Go, hey man, you want a third wheel?
And he was actually, Centauro, he's the only one that could stand up to him too. Everybody else is terrified of him. He was the only one that did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. He has like more underneath than it seems at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually thought I was a little bit surprised when, like they got together, or he confessed his love to her, and then there was that kiss in the 4th episode where she like starts crying, and then that little like what was it, the can wire conversation he's having with the kid.
Oh, yeah. And she picks it up, and he's like, ah!
And then she says like, I'm interested in someone else, and that's like that like hit me, because it's like, wow, you don't see a lot of shows do that where the
How many times
protagonist
does she
gets
have
rejected.
How many times does she have to say no before she
Well,
realizes,
no,
maybe this hurts him a little bit?
She kept dropping hints though, like in the first few episodes, she was
she
all
felt
upset when she thought that he was hitting on Yaku.
Eureka.
Eureka.
Well,
don't remember her
although knowing what we do now, though, was she more upset just because Centauro seemed to be so infatuated with Eureka and not with her? Because she obviously had a thing for him.
Oh, yeah.
for a while, and then
like, I
she dropped
couldn't-
that by the end.
I
Yeah, I was
couldn't
gonna say.
decide whether she was more upset because Kaoru liked Eureka or Sentaro liked Eureka, or just the fact that she was like, I'm not pretty, wah. And I don't know.
Right.
Like, I couldn't I was trying, the whole episode, I was like, what is she really upset about? Because then she's all crying by herself, and it's not even, she's like, I hate myself, I'm not pretty. She just cried. It was like, she didn't confess anything, so I was just confused about what she was exactly upset about.
I was so mad when she threw out the knitting in the garbage.
I was like, oh.
Really?
Yeah, come on.
What? So you thought that was a little cliche? Like,
No, I was just kind of mad that she did that because I wanted her to be with him.
right. Well, but thankfully, like she has a little conversation with Eureka or whatever it is, and then like 5 minutes later, she's digging through the garbage to try and find it again.
And then she's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to have to use
I still thought it was
new yarn. Why did
well
you dig
written,
through
though.
the garbage?
That's a good po- well, I guess you want her needles, maybe sewing needles.
I don't even know. I don't think she thought it through very well.
I
Yeah,
guess not.
because she wasn't going to use it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that definitely stood out to me as like probably my favorite moment in the entire series was the ending bit of episode 7, where Karu, he's like going behind the stage to like try to fix the electric problem, and he overhears Sentaro talking with, what's his name again? Matsuoka, and like he's saying, oh no, I like this rock thing, but jazz is really for me, and I've got my good friend is waiting for me, so
Yeah.
I can't stay with you guys after this is over. And it cuts like that little image of him getting the letter, in the getting the letter in the mail, because when he thought that when he thought that Sentaro had betrayed him, he flashed back to the whole thing where like his friends from his old school would tell him like, oh, we'll send you letters, don't worry, we'll stay in touch, and then he'd open the box up and there'd be nothing there. That's what he thought was going to happen. But then once he overhears Sentaro say that, then he goes down there and starts playing the piano to like appease the
awesome.
crowd.
Yeah, he's like, I'll hold him off for now.
And then Sentaro comes up and like just that whole musical montage is like that was my favorite moment of like jazz and just stuff in general because it's just
Super
so
friendship moment.
Oh yeah, they
It was
definitely.
adorable.
Bromance.
Yeah, they had the best friends ever day right there. They had all the ladies love him afterwards.
yeah, pretty much.
So many fans.
Rock didn't work jazz. That's what got
Well, I
him.
mean, Rico's friend liked Train Kid.
That is true.
That was adorable.
That
I
is true.
thought that was my favorite ship in the entire series was Rico's friend and Train Kid. I don't even remember his name. It's like Morale or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like
I'm
that.
glad you know all the names because I just could not get all of them down.
Just because I read it so many times.
True. Wait, when you said the names.
I read the subtitle. I watched the
I
subtitle.
thought you meant you read all the mangas. I was like, damn,
No.
impressed.
Yeah.
No,
But no,
I didn't know it was a manga.
I mean that seems like the moment there where Yoko Kanno was just allowed to like do something awesome, make this really great medley, and the music just takes over, the animation's amazing, and then even though there's a short little moment afterwards where like the two of them like run off and like the main theme, that little like it's I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of like a plinky, high pitched sort of music thing, but that's like the main theme for the whole show. It's called Kids on the Slope. And that's playing as like they're running down the hill and they're like celebrating,
Yeah.
And
That was awesome.
The way they like talked about the slope the whole time, I was like, Jeff Hill.
Kids of Jeff Hill.
Yes.
Jeff Hill.
Yes, the giant hill at Ohio University that many of us have to walk up every day.
I have
Take
to
the
sprint up
stairs.
sometimes.
Don't just take the stairs.
Was it just me, or it reminded me like that opening bit with the slope and everything? It reminded me quite a bit of Haruhi Suzumiya, which also opens in a very similar way with the main character walking up a hill to go to school.
There's always a hill of some sort. There was a hill in Clannad. There was a hill in
They
It's a good
hills,
show.
they got to mount to be, get over there. Problems.
It's all symbolic.
We all got slopes, yeah.
The ups and downs of life.
Exactly.
Yes. What else? Oh, I will say this is something I mentioned earlier in the or before we started recording, but in general, like I'm not that much of a fan of like romantic, like animes or shows in general. And so I found myself getting surprisingly invested because obviously I love the jazz parts of the show. Like those were always my favorites. At the same time, they did a good job of giving the characters some depth and making them likable and making me actually care about the the love triangles that were going on. Like even though Ritsuko is sort of the stereotypical like high-pitched, quiet, shy, super nice girl, that you see in a lot in anime.
I didn't mind her though. Like there are
I
other
liked
characters
her.
like that always got on my nerves, but I didn't mind her.
her voice wasn't annoying, so that helped.
Yeah, that helps. It wasn't that screechy high pitched.
Oh,
it was
yeah, that is the
soft high
worst.
pitched.
Right.
Great your ears.
It wasn't too over the top like romance. It was believable.
Yeah, which is something I appreciate.
Just their reactions to it were kind of extreme sometimes.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah. Another bit I quite liked was when Karu went to visit his mom.
I was about to say that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I read your mind, man.
you did. That was weird.
But no, like I thought that was, I think they handled that quite realistically. And I was a little confused by one thing though, because he was looking at the address that somebody had given him, like to where she was, and it looked like he was standing like in front of like a brothel or
Yeah,
something.
I was wondering what it was because
I
they were
was
like
like, wait a
surprised. Like, why is it a
minute.
workplace?
But then when she actually got there, they went out to like this restaurant. So is the idea that he just got the address wrong and she actually works at the restaurant, or is she actually a prostitute?
Maybe it's both.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's a server prostitute, I guess.
Well, it is Japan.
Maybe it's
so-
like Hooters or something like that. I don't know.
The Japanese equivalent of Hooters. I can see
Japanese
it.
equivalent.
I can see
Well,
it.
I mean,
They would do it.
They had gourmet food.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty legit, and Sancho didn't even finish. So,
There you go.
I wanted to eat that. I was like, dang, I'll take it.
I'll
Yeah,
take that.
I'm glad him and his mom had the moment though, like they were laughing together, and he kind of washed away his depression a little bit. He said, over
Right.
the whole.
The whole love triangle thing. And I liked how after that moment, even though he would say like, it still hurts, like when Ritsuko would do something with somebody else, or when he realized that she was really interested in Sentaro, but he then like tried to get them together,
Yeah,
and
he actually legitimately tried.
he was being a good
a good wingman.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was looking for, a
wingman.
wingman. He was
It'll
looking
be-
out for
it's-
his buddy.
It's for the
good
best.
bro.
It's for the best for
like
those
the
two.
infirmary part. Okay, one thing I didn't. Okay, they explain this at the end. When he finds Santoro underneath the blanket and lifts it up. He's like, "Did you finally find me or something?" He reaches for him. He's like, "Why are you holding my hand? Like, what was that?"
That was strange.
Did they ever explain that for anything?
No, I guess the
Maybe
idea
he
is
was sleepy or something.
he was dreaming.
It's
I
just supposed to be
guess.
funny.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Okay, that's what I thought.
Maybe he was just secretly suicidal or something. I don't know. Maybe that was just a phase
That
of
or
him
he's
just being like,
totally in love with
"I'm
him.
dying." That too. I like that
Yeah.
theory better.
Oh.
I'm thinking it.
Something I just thought of. I quite like the little twist where he sees Karu sees Sentaro and Eureka, and he's like posing
Totally
in front
topless.
of her. Yeah, totally topless.
He is.
and he thinks like that he's moved to that step in their relationship.
"Hot dang."
And then it's like in reality, oh no, I was posing for a picture. It actually kind of
Yeah,
sucked.
when they explained
That
that, I
was
was like,
hilarious.
okay. And then she took him out to buy nice things
Yeah,
to like reward him for being a model.
And he's like, "I don't like nice things.
pretty much.
How about no?
I like you."
Oh yeah, was
Can I
that a
have
watch or something?
you?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I quite liked it actually when Karu and Ritsuko were like in the same shop and they each bought him one drumstick.
Yes.
So together it was
It
equal
was kind of
to.
silly, but it was really cute.
Yeah, and then he kissed her, and then she cried. Then
And
his
then
brother's like,
Kara-
"Why'd you make her cry?" And
And then Kara throws the drumsticks at him.
Yeah.
Because it's Sentaro's fault that she rejected him
Obviously,
at the time.
yeah.
Because that's the reasonable
Obviously.
response.
How
Yeah,
dare they
of
be
course.
friends
At
since
least-
forever?
Exactly.
How
at
dare
one point,
you?
he thought he was being childish. Like, I know I'm being childish, but still, this is dumb. Like, when he got like when he was saying he's gonna be in the rock band, he admitted it, but he
Yeah.
still went with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty true to life. That like you react in the moment, and do something kind of stupid, and you realize afterwards that it's stupid, but then you've already done the damage, and you don't want to go apologize. You don't feel like that's
Not
going to
yet.
help.
Yeah.
I don't really think they ever really said flat out sorry to each other. It's mostly like, "Hey, I'm mad. I'm mad
think-
too. Let's play music.
they
Okay, we're
communicated
cool.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
All right, we're
cool, bro.
cool." But like, they never actually said sorry.
They
Well-
just started jamming, and it was all cool.
Yeah,
It
when
was
they
like,
jam.
"All right, these notes are nice. We're cool now."
Maybe it's like telepathy they get when they listen to music. Yeah, like they gain telepathy or something.
Yeah, I think that's one of the other themes of the show is basically that like playing jazz solves all problems. Whenever they're having relationship problems or one of them's mad, either they'll go down there and they'll play and they'll feel better, or they'll go down there and they'll play and because they're emotionally distraught, they don't play well and the other person immediately clues in on it. That happens to both of them throughout the show, I
And they
believe.
compete. Like have the friendly competitions when they're playing sometimes.
Yeah.
You can tell like they're like that's how they got during their first performance before the guy was like being racist. Like
Oh, yeah.
that was the worst. But when they were playing, like he's like he's guarded because Yuki's there or whatever, and he started playing louder in the piano. So then Santoro was like, "Oh heck no!" and then started jamming.
Yeah, I thought
So-
that was quite nice. And the song that Brother June sings that song, like after the racist guy.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Yeah, we all hate him, but
But I think he's supposed to be American too.
yeah, but June.
There were so many Americans
I was
that
confused
audience.
It
about
was-
that at first.
Yeah, but June has like his voice was like amazing because
He
like
was really good at singing, legitimately.
he didn't have there wasn't any hint of an accent in his English or anything, which was probably because it was sung by somebody else. But
Probably.
we won't mention that.
I love Rico's cute little English voice.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
She's just so
Oh, yeah.
cute.
yeah,
When she sang the song.
yeah. Well, I when I saw that scene because there's that bit where they're like, we need to think of something like to make our stuff more popular. It can't just be instrumental. And she comes in, she's humming like these are a few of my favorite things. I thought at first like just hearing her humming was gonna like inspire them to write something, but then it turned out, oh no, we're gonna make you sing.
You can sing for us.
Yeah, which I actually like. I thought that was like a really sort of touching little moment, like when they're all laying on the ground there in the basement. They're like talking about like what are their favorite things, and Karo says like he doesn't say it out loud. He just thinks in his head like this is my favorite thing. Like having these moments of friendship and everything. I was like, aw.
It was cheesy.
Well, it's cheesy, but
In a good way.
It was good though.
but it's
yeah.
good.
But like
It's a good type
I
of
can
cheesy.
relate because like when I go home, I always hang out with my friends in my boyfriend's basement, and we just bum around, play video games, and order food, and it's the
That
best
is the
time
dream
ever.
life, yeah.
it is
That-
the
that
best time of my life.
Those are good
It's been the
times.
best 2 years.
Oh, trust me, my
just
friends and
because
I-
of that.
Yeah, staying in the basement for more than like 5 hours with friends. Agreed.
It's so great.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
always
well,
good.
like this year for me, like last year I didn't really do all that much in my dorm room, because I didn't like know that many of the people there. Whereas this year,
Smash party.
exactly. I brought down my GameCube. There were a bunch of people who wanted like it out in the lobby, so I brought in. We've played Smash quite a bit.
Yeah. We've met quite a few interesting people. The Falcon
Yes,
Knee Man.
we've had quite a few matches with them, and then also whichever of us like have our lunch schedules match, which is usually me, Kenny, and Chris.
Yeah.
You know, we'll go before our class and have like 5 little matches, you know, before
Yeah, see, it's just
we
nice.
go, and it's
Yeah.
just so much fun.
I definitely say this year you have more interactions with people, and like this is the friendship's awesome, guys. Let's be honest.
Friendship hug.
Friendships.
No, I feel you.
Guys. Yu-Gi-Oh! Friendship. Get a marker, guys. Draw
Oh
it.
No.
Look at this and know you'll win.
You're
Against
talking
Kaiba.
about that cheesy there, Gretchen. That is cheesy.
See, the best game ever is whenever you watch the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh!
You take a drink every time they say
drinking game,
friendship.
friendship. I think that's
Oh
only
my
the first
God.
episode, but you're done at least halfway through.
No. Every time Tay says the word friendship, you're supposed to go.
Well, that's all she talks about. In the actual manga, she was fine. I'm sorry, off topic.
Well, it's true. They make fun of that in the abridged series an awful
Yeah.
lot.
Ghost of a Chance.
That was my favorite. You have a ghost of a chance. Oh, I'm
That
still gonna
dialogue.
propose. We should do an abridged episode.
I know we will talk about that when we get to the end of the podcast. I have
Okay.
mentioned it. There are a couple other things I want to get to because now we're getting to like the later part of the series. One moment I really liked was when you get that whole backstory with June and how he. Thank you, Kenny, for making that noise.
Go ahead.
How June, he has this whole like thing that he was doing at college, like this anti-government.
Oh, he's
like,
part of the
protesting.
Communist Party thing there.
Oh, was that?
It said, yeah, I looked it up
yeah.
and read it. It actually said he's part of the communist
Yeah, they said that. He's a kind of
Okay.
group. Yeah,
It's
so-
probably a like actual historical Japanese movement at the time, I bet.
I believe it, yeah.
But like and he
Cold
comes
War.
back and he's all like disheveled and he's obviously like the bum and
Yeah,
all,
he got.
all's
They said they
bad.
got him with bad people when they went to visit in Tokyo. Why say Tokyo? When they went to his room, they said he mixed up. Shut up, guys. But they said he got mixed up with a bad group, and that's what kind of backfired on him. So it insinuated some other people did not like him being communist man.
I guess so. But I actually really liked it when his one friend like told him to come to the publishing company and he got his act together and he came and sort of like you said earlier how Sentaro never really and Karo never really said that they were sorry. June and Sentaro never really made up either. They also just went down there and had their little duel of the jazz,
Their
which, what,
Telepathy speak.
telepathy.
which I thought was actually really cool because like just in general I really love like trumpet. Trumpet can
I
be
love
really
trumpet.
cool.
Oh yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed just in general with the show and that it's a jazz show, but there wasn't anybody playing the saxophone. I would have
Oh, that
Maybe it
would've
broke
been
the
cool.
cliche though.
been a bit more cliche, but I don't care.
I'm glad he had the cello or bass. Yeah, the bass.
Oh, I
I
love
could
finger
rarely
picking
the
the
bass
bass.
and the
I-
trumpet were my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because my volume was too low, but it was always hard for me to hear.
I
the
agree.
bass.
I didn't really
I
hear
was
the
Yeah,
like,
it's really low. It's like that. Ding, ding, ding,
I can
ding.
see him
So-
doing something, so I'm just gonna imagine there's some bass in there.
I liked him because he was always, he wasn't a main character, so he didn't really give many things. Whenever he's there, it just felt calming because his character's always just having a great
He's
time.
chill.
Yeah, I loved him because everything was going like to heck. He's just like, guys want to play some jazz and just start playing. Like, and the guy was racist. Santru got off. He's like, let's play some jazz, guys, and just stays up there and plays.
Right.
They just switched
But-
to a whole different style, and like they still,
Yeah.
the crowd still loves them.
And I love that moment, yeah, when Brother June comes up and is like, all right, you need to play this. You ready? And he's like, I don't know. And it's just like them two pretty much on the
Hold
piano
on,
and
give me a
trumpet.
second. I'm just gonna be totally cool right now.
Yeah, and
Hope
then
you
all
don't
the girls,
mind.
sorry, Yuki was like
yeah,
staring at him.
Well, you could tell like when he starts singing like that. Yep, this is the part where she falls in love with him, isn't it?
Yeah, that was
yes,
the
it is.
stealing factor.
Ojo-sama.
There it is.
Yeah, but I really love the duel that he had with Sentaro there right before he left. And then we get to we've talked about Sentaro and this whole thing with his dad. I guess we could talk a bit about Karu and Ritsuko and how that whole thing comes out because Karu realizes that Ritsuko likes Sentaro and he's trying to get the two of them together. And then Ritsuko comes to this revelation where it's like, well, maybe I don't like Sentaro. Maybe I actually like Karu since he's been like nothing but nice to me.
Maybe she
throughout-
got rejected, so she was like, I'll just go to him.
I know, because I did feel I felt like Ritsuko was a little bit of a flirt, in that she rejects him, early on the series, but then is like, oh, wait, I changed my mind. Now I am going after you,
Well, the thing is,
and
like,
Karu
I don't
doesn't-
think she understands her because she doesn't have a lot of confidence. So it's like, oh my god, boy likes me. What is this? And because she already knew that she liked Sentaro, it was like conflicting for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I think she's like my one friend. She's just really oblivious. So I have to be like, no, this guy really likes you. And she's like, what? Nah. And I'm like, yeah.
It's kind of like when he was talking to his sister, his little sister, and she's like, no way. He's like, maybe he's picking on you because he likes you. And through the can.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's like that.
yeah.
It's like she just doesn't understand what these feelings are.
Actually, I remember that like the episode after that, like Sentaro is trying to talk to the little girl.
Yeah, he's
and
trying to
be like, do you know who Ritsuko really likes? And then like one of the boys like starts screaming, is like, oh, you can't talk about romantic things in this house.
I love that.
Which
That was
I
so
thought
funny.
was pretty funny.
I liked how the first episode, when he was trying to go, he likes Yuki and everything, but he's like, oh, my girlfriend's out here. I was like, girlfriend? And then you see the pigeon, and I was like, oh. And they
Yeah.
both laugh. He's like, maybe he's jealous because she keeps hearing you talk about other girls. And they
That's
both
kinda
laugh.
funny.
I like that.
It was cute.
That was cute. But yeah, what did you guys think of how, like Kaoru and Ritsuko sort of got back together? Because first she gives him the mittens, and he's a little bit confused by like what's going on, and he thought that maybe they were intended for Sentaro or whatever, that she had done something for him, because he'd seen her with the yarn. And then what happens after that? And then like there's a couple times when Ritsuko like basically says like that she likes him. And he's still like, well, but I thought you liked Sentaro. I know that deep down in your heart you really do. Why did you reject me? And he's sort of, which I thought was a little bit strange for him, given how like madly in love he was with her in the first like few episodes.
Well, he had to get over it for so long. Maybe he was just done with it. That's the thing.
I guess. I mean, I can understand that because he was rejected pretty soundly once. He's probably a bit suspicious of her. But I did quite like when they, when she comes to talk to him when he's sick. And, and she comes up to his room and things kind of go badly there. And he realizes that, and he runs down the stairs, even though he can like barely walk. And he sort of confesses his love to her. And like, that's all a sweet moment. I don't know.
That was awesome.
Did you guys like that?
I thought that was cute.
And then she wants to kiss him anyway, even though he's like, oh, I'm sick, you can't.
It was adorable.
Yeah,
He's
patient zero, much like our own Laura Welling.
Yeah.
In Decades.
Oh, sorry. Last name was Wheeling. She yelled at me for that.
That's funny.
But, yeah.
But one bit I did think was a little strange was that moment happens, like they confess their love for each other. It's like, okay, their relationship is going somewhere. They both like each other. And then it cuts to like, that's like in late winter. And it cuts to the summer, and he's just sitting there in the basement as like, well, my relationship with Ritsuko hasn't gone anywhere.
I know they skip time a lot.
That
Like,
was
they
a little
go to, it's just
confusing.
between breaks and everything. Because I didn't realize how long he didn't play with Sentaro in the beginning. Like he took it when he got rejected the first time. They said all winter break he didn't play with him, and I was like, dang, that's like a month. That's a long time. Yeah, they always cut the breaks.
Especially near the end, because like the first and second years, occupy most of like the time of the show, and the third year goes by like really fast.
They went through all 4 years, right? Of like high school.
No,
or?
I think in Japan it's only 3 years.
Is it 3? Oh, because
they graduate in their third year.
remember they were near. I know they had the class 10 thing. That's when they was second year, right?
Yes,
Okay,
where
yeah,
they got
that's right.
split up in classes.
I thought they graduated for a second. I was like, already?
Because there's this whole plot point where at the end of the second year, Sentaro wasn't going to graduate, and Carl mentors him and gets him to pass his test. But yeah, I felt that was a little strange. Like, okay, so you just had this heartfelt confession and everything seems good, and then 6 months later, oh wait, our relationship hasn't gone anywhere.
Still awkward.
And-
It's like they just forgot about it.
I guess.
They just went home and just woke up like, oh, whoops.
Ooh, I don't
That was
know.
a
Yeah,
long
that's what it kind
break.
of felt like.
What happened? I don't
They
remember.
were in the same class too. They saw each other every day.
Well, and like the most touching moment we really get between them when he's like he leans on her shoulder because like something had just happened. I forget what.
Sentaro beat him up, remember? Because that was when he tackled Sentaro. Sentaro was trying to leave.
Oh, that's
And then he
right.
said something like, let me just stay here for a minute.
Yeah, and he just leaves his head on her shoulder. But that was kind of sweet. But
That's
that's
cute.
That's really like as close as we ever see them, really.
Until later when he tries to force himself on her.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was weird.
What?
Whoa,
I was
what?
like, whoa.
I didn't actually see that
Oh,
part.
you didn't see that?
That's-
Wait, it was not in the
That was
read-up
in
either.
episode 12, so yeah, you did not see that.
How intense was it?
It wasn't-
nothing bad, right?
It
He
wasn't
was like,
that intense.
I'm glad he's gone now. I can
Oh
be
yeah, I
alone
didn't read
with
about
you
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
she
read,
had
I read it
some
twice, and I was like, he actually said that.
yeah.
Sure.
And I was like,
It was like
red
that,
flag.
That was like
Yeah.
that was a really, really bold.
At least it wasn't as bad as what's his name from that space one.
Oh yeah, we won't talk about that.
worst.
But yeah,
I mean, June kind of pulled the same thing.
well, right.
facts.
But then, what is it? Eureka called him out on it. Was like, you're just doing this to try to scare me away.
And he's like, oh, yeah, kind of.
You right. You right.
Pretty much. But yeah, that thing with Karu, because like right before then, she says something about Sentaro, and he's like, well, let's not talk about it, because it's blindingly obvious to everybody that he misses him like hell. and then he just says this line like, I don't need him anymore. It's just you and me now. And he starts trying to kiss her and like,
It's just the two of us.
Dude, he is his inner Palpatine coming out.
I know. It's like we said earlier though, like he has that moment in episode 4 where he just spontaneously like kisses her and it's a little creepy, like I don't know why
he
he
goes for
has
the gold,
these
dude.
he has these moments of just like sort of going out of character and
Pure
being
boldness.
being,
Yeah, that's why I
kinda
liked
weird.
him. He didn't fit the shy guy totally. 'Cause
Right.
The thing is, he broke that a lot.
But the
so-
problem being that Ritsuko is the shy girl, and so when he tries to do
True
that,
facts.
she's not usually. Well, actually, because in that moment in episode 12, he like kisses her once, and she's okay with that. But then he like tries to keep going, and she's like, "Stop!" And then
Stop.
eventually
And like
slaps
even like
him.
before they actually
Stop.
kiss, he like kind of moves in and waits for her for a little bit, and then they both kind of move in together. So it's like, oh, I'm taking you into consideration. Now I'm not.
Yeah. And this is just maybe a personal thing, but I find it weird. Like whenever I see an anime or animation in general, like whenever two characters kiss, it looks a little strange in animation because it just looks like their two mouths are like closing in over each other. It doesn't quite have the I don't know, something about like seeing it in live action. There's something more detailed about it.
Man,
I think.
I just think kissing's weird in general. Who thought to put mouths together? We eat with those. It's always bothered me since I was little. Like, who the heck? Like, what? Like when we were younger, like, oh, let's just kiss. All right, cool.
Well, their mouth has like a line in anime, so it doesn't really work.
Yeah, seriously.
Right. And speaking of the whole Centro thing, what did you guys think of that? Where, personally, like they're practicing for the pageant or the festival or whatever, and they're compete against the other guy's band. Matsuoka. Thank
The
you.
Olympians.
I forgot about they put Z instead. He had to correct it to the.
Just yeah, that was kind
I
of
mean,
funny.
like in katakana, it would be Z.
So he actually had.
So he put za instead,
that's right,
and
za,
so it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like no, that's za. It has to be Z. And he's like, whatever, it's fine. He's
za.
like,
Yeah,
no, za Olympians.
That was one thing that did confuse me a little bit. If Matsuko is supposed to be like poor, how are they affording like all these extravagant
It was
costumes?
his friend's stuff.
Is that the idea?
His friend, yeah, they practiced his friend's house. So they got the drum set and the nice guitar. 'Cause
and
I
all
thought
their
that,
stuff is like borrowed.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember.
They did have a nice outfit though. I thought that. I was
Yeah.
like, dang.
But
But he
Sgt.
did
Pepper's.
become a star, which was cute.
That was
Even
cute.
though
Just
he's
like his
still
underwear
annoying.
He actually did later on because that wasn't.
Yeah, it was like in the 12th episode. It was like 8 years later.
he a
He's
rock
like,
star?
"Hey everybody, I'm on TV.
Oh,
I'm really
he's on
annoying."
TV.
Smiley face.
Yeah, he was being interviewed on TV.
Was he still extremely skinny?
Yes.
Yes.
He still had that fang thing.
Yeah, I was wondering why did he have a
Exact
fang?
That was
Same.
weird.
It's like the cutesy fang. I really don't know.
Well,
A lot of characters
I'll-
have that.
I mean,
That is true.
Centro looked a little bit different, but Karu was like exactly the same, except a little bit shaggier hair. And his that was one thing that did bother me a little bit about the flash forward. Their voices were all like the same.
That's
they
because
didn't-
medical school.
They didn't deepen it at all.
Shaggy.
that's
hair.
why you're
Yeah.
in pre-med.
Yeah, pre-med.
But when they finished their like last practice session and the festival's tomorrow, and like Karu is like walking home, and it shows that shot of just him walking along the side of the road, and I thought something bad was going to happen to him, and then Centauro's like, oh, I'll go give him this page, and then drives off on the motorcycle, and then we get the collision.
Like when-
Yeah.
It took me a while to realize that Sachiko was on the back of his motorcycle because
Yeah.
they didn't say
Yeah, I
anything.
Yeah, that was
No.
terrifying.
I was
The fact
like,
it
wait a
intensive
minute,
care.
someone's back there. Is that Rico?
Wait.
Is that Rico?
She was fine though. Like
No,
after-
well, yeah, but
was
she
in
like,
intensive care.
yeah, she got into like a coma for a couple of minutes
Yeah.
there, but
That was something I'll have to rewatch the episode. When he's driving on his motorcycle, do you actually, because they don't like explicitly show you that she's on the back of it. 'cause
Why
it's
would
supposed
he
to be
bring
a
her
see
with
her
surprise.
hair like a little bit. Like I was like, wait, there's someone back there.
But why would she
So I
bring
didn't
her
notice that.
with her in the middle of the night driving a scooter thing though?
She had
She
to go
said
somewhere, and she's like, my
she
ankle
couldn't walk.
hurts.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh.
And he was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I guess.
Why she need to go somewhere that
Take
late at
aspirin.
night? I don't know.
And then she said, he doesn't normally
Walk
do
off.
this, so it's my fault.
Yeah. Well, I admit, like, because I completely bought into the fact that it was Centro that got into the accident, and so when Karu like runs to his parents and they're crying outside of the hospital room and they're talking about how the person in there might never wake up again, I'm thinking like, oh well, now he's gonna be crippled and he's not gonna be able to play his drums ever again. And then it's like, and he's like trying to comfort her, like saying, oh no, Centro's tough, he'll make it through this, no problem. And she's like, no,
No,
it's
it's
Sachiko.
Sachiko.
And that was like, oh.
Oh, it's okay then. It's okay.
Well, no,
Yeah, and then he was like
no,
happy about it.
No, he was happy. Maybe he was happy about it. But,
He was a little bit more relieved, but still concerned.
but for me, like that really hit me hard because that's almost worse in a way because then it makes Centro feel so guilty.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, like, I feel like because he knew that Centaur was okay, he's like, oh, it's a little bit better now.
A little bit.
It's okay now. We're
Well,
good.
he was under
We
the
can-
impression
we
that
can
his,
still
his
compete.
best friend might have just died.
Right.
You know, so I can understand
But I
that.
mean,
But
like-
and what did you guys think when then immediately afterwards he runs up to the roof there and there's that whole bit where he walks forward and he finds him with the cloth over his body just like in the first episode and he pulls it off and it's all very reminiscent of their original meeting.
In my head, I was just going, now kiss.
Because then he said something about like, "Oh, are you the angel?" That blah blah.
Yeah, and then he was like, now we don't have to see each other cry. I'm hugging your head now.
Yeah, I was
So-
like,
And I was
wow.
like, now kiss.
I was like, wow, that was pretty romantically
You were
charged.
so cute.
When he held his head up, I'm like, no, we don't want each other to cry. I'm
Well,
like,
I
that
mean,
was-
to be fair, you know, in the context of the story, the guy just put his sister in a coma, and he's obviously a very responsible and feels really guilty about stuff like that.
no,
so,
I understood it. I was just like, that was kind of a weird move for
well, and
Caro.
and then I don't know what it is about me and like Centro leaving, but then like after that, like there's that moment, and then it cuts to like. And then Centro disappeared, and we have no idea where he went.
The thing is, like, when did they like stop crying and like curl up under that blanket together and then kiss? But
Well, remember,
You just really want this
yeah, it
kiss.
cuts to Caro like waking up on the
Right,
roof,
but, like-
and then Centro's gone.
like he's under the blanket, so were they under the blanket together? Sorry, my head
No,
can't.
I got you.
My canon shipping whatever is
It's
going
following
out.
all
It's
along.
going out of control right now.
I'm sure there's
My
a blog for
shippings
it.
are coming out. Jeremy's not here to yell at me about it.
My shippings are showing.
My shippings are showing.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought that was a little. Well, I mean, this is more justified than him running away from his dad, I think, because this is like him something he did by accident. Obviously, you know, it looked like that car completely came out of their lane and hit him.
Yeah,
wasn't
it
anything
totally
he
went into the
did.
right lane.
But still, I can understand him being really upset with the fact that he hurt his sister. And if I hate to say it, but if the girl had actually like gone to a permanent coma or had died, like then him running away would have felt more justified to me. But in the end of the day, she comes out of the hospital and she's fine. Yet
But he didn't know that at the time. She woke up later.
I know. Well, if I was him, I would have stayed by her side until I found that out. You know.
He didn't.
He
They
didn't wanna
said, "Oh,
face
she
it.
might not wake up for months," and he's like, my life sucks."
Yeah, he didn't want to face the truth of that. So I mean,
I guess. So, but that was a sad moment, and they leave you with that for a good episode and a half, where Centro is completely gone, and Karu and Ritsuko are both really depressed. And I was upset that, like I said, that moment at the end of episode 7 where they perform at the festival is like my favorite moment in the show. And that's really, I think, like the climax, at least musically, of the show. Like nothing after that. There was some good stuff after that, but it wasn't as good as that. I was looking forward to them performing at the second festival, and
Yeah,
we never
so was I.
we
well,
never
they still got to
got
perform
it.
at the end though, at the very end.
Right, which I liked, but still, I
It's
get the
not quite
feeling.
the same.
Yeah, the second festival would have been amazing.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
no,
You know,
good.
they
In
were
fact, he ran away
practicing so hard
right
for it.
then. They were like, oh.
Yeah,
That's kind of why it's good too, because like it's not what you expected. It was kind of shocking that
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, they're gonna play the festival, they're
Yeah,
gonna be
it
so
did.
good, everyone's
Quite the
gonna
turn.
love
well,
them.
and I think in general, the those last few episodes of the show are confusing. Kenny, you broke the pop filter.
I done goofed.
because because you think like they're gonna perform at the festival, and then it throws in this whole car wreck thing, and then Centro runs away, and then
At least the plane
his
didn't
relationship with Ritsuko in the 12th episode, as we've discussed, kind of goes downhill, and then they both graduate, and he's like outside of the building and tells her like that the only reason I came to this shop in the first place was to see your smile, so thank you for all the good times, and they don't even really see each other again. They both go off to college and separate, and
Did
that's
you notice how like in 8 years the guy's hair gets longer and all the girls' hair gets shorter? It's like
Yeah.
Apparently.
That's the older.
Yeah.
as you
All
get
right, guys.
older, your hair just shrinks into your head.
When we reconvene in like 10 years after we graduate, let's see if your guys' hair is shorter and ours is longer. Let's do
totally.
this. Going Super Saiyan hair. It's gonna be great.
We'll do a podcast on it.
You look good with Super Saiyan hair, Mr. Kenny.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
But yeah, actually, I think, what was it? You said it earlier, Andrew, like that this show actually realistically displays high school relationships
Yes.
because they don't end up with each other at the end. It all sort of goes to pieces after they go to college.
Yeah, they just go to college and never talk to each other, and they'll talk to each other again and forget about this and move on with their lives.
But yeah, so
It's rough.
So I thought
But that's how
that
it works.
was as I was watching episode 12 and it skipped ahead those 8 years and he's successful at med school or in the hospital, but yeah, he hasn't seen either of them in years, and he's obviously doesn't have that many like close friends. Like I was like, oh, well, this is gonna end sad.
I wonder if that's what he actually wanted, because his aunt said she was going to send him to a good med school to make money and stuff, but he never said he wanted to do it.
He's the only male heir. He must do something important.
Exactly. So you never know if he wants it.
I was thinking, I thought that would be a plot point, like that they were going to want him to go to med school, and he was going to be like, no, I want to go to school for music or something.
Yeah.
But I guess, after maybe the whole Centro thing, like he was like, nah, that's...
Nope,
I'm not going to do
Like
that.
he hadn't played the piano in 8 years.
But then in that episode, he plays it flawlessly during their little medley at the
Friendship
it's
brings
like
back
riding
everything.
a bike. It's like riding a bike.
end. Yeah.
That's not true. I came back from vacation after learning how to ride a bike and crashed and cried and said I'd never do it again. So
I'm so sorry I brought up those traumatic memories.
I tried to block it out. No,
I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. Yeah, it was fine afterwards. She's right.
I kept forgetting that they weren't gonna call each other because it like took a while for me to realize that it was 1966.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's
Yeah.
just gonna text her now.
That
no.
never occurred. If you guys hadn't told me, it would have been like, that's the weirdest modern day adaptation ever.
But yeah, I thought it was quite nice when he runs into Eureka, and she's like older and seems to be working out with June well, and I thought that was a nice way to bring him back. Seeing the nerdy kid at the train station and seeing the other guy at the in the interview, and like he's accomplished his dream of being a rock star and all that. I thought that was cool.
His rose shirt.
Yes.
His fashion sense is no.
Don't tell me, was it Pop at the collar too in the show?
It was like he was wearing a vest with like a white shirt with red roses, and he's like, I'm cute and stuff, and I'm like, stop.
This is the 60s, so
I
That's
know,
true.
but it was weird.
But yeah, the whole bit, like, where he's looking for Centro and he's like going around talking to all the people in the village, like the show got to me enough, I guess, where it was like personally, like I was like, oh, is he gonna find him? Like I want them to meet up again. I was like genuinely invested.
Like when
in the
Eureka
characters.
showed him the pictures, like, oh, look on the far left, and I looked at him like, there's no one there, and I like paused the video and I'm looking as hard as I can. I'm like, I can't see who you're supposed to be pointing. I realized, oh, we're not supposed to see his face.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, I get it now.
But
I get it.
I thought that was well done, and he like discovers the drums in the church and just starts laughing and starts playing the music, and he comes in with all the kids and starts playing, and it wasn't like I said, the medley at the end of episode 7 was probably my favorite thing musically, but I still thought that the thing at the end of the 12th episode was good, and it was I was certainly hoping that the show didn't end without some sort of jazz thing, because that would have made me really disappointed.
Gotta have the outro.
Yeah. Well, and then so that whole thing happens, and then the priest comes and like chases them out, and then you get the that just final little montage where it's the main song that plays at the opening is playing over everything, and you just get them like running down the hill, and they're like laughing, and then they run into Ritsko, there at the very end.
Okay, wait, did that letter say that she got married, or did someone she know get married? Because I wasn't really paying attention.
I've like you, I stopped the video just to read like the English
Yeah, I did
that was
too, and
over it.
even then I was like, what?
I'm pretty sure her friend got married and like somehow knew about him. She was not married, I don't think. And
So I was like, 8 years is kind of a short time.
So,
I mean,
so on one hand, I think the ending of the show is bittersweet in that, like the relationships don't end up like the way you think they will, and Centro seems to be gone. But then the very end, even though they're apart from each other, they come together at the end, and they're like, they are able to rekindle their friendship and have at least a short time of happiness again. So it's sort of a bittersweet thing, but I actually thought it was a nice ending, nice way to close up the show. What did you guys think of the ending?
I thought it was fitting and tasteful. I liked it the way it did it because it was more unorthodox, and the fact that they didn't all like people didn't end up with a certain person. It wasn't cliche. It was actually none of the original 3 ended up with anybody who thought they would, and they took a different direction. Like he was trained to be a priest, Sandru was, and then med school. What did she even do?
We don't know.
Yeah, I just mean I like the way it ended.
I like the way they brought the music back, like you said. Like it needed to end with that jazz note.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Andrew?
I really liked the ending, and I thought like you guys said, that it was a good moment for them to like come back together. It was good for Karu, who doesn't have any friends. He doesn't look like he has many friends on med school, which I guess it might be hard for somebody in like their internship.
He was talking to like somebody in the cafeteria.
Yeah,
so.
he was talking to like one of the orderlies or something. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was really well done, and that it gave a nice closure to Centro, who we did not know what happened to at all.
Right. Clara?
I was hoping they'd have this like big embrace or something at the end. They just kind of stood there and looked at each other like, "Oh, we're all here at the same time."
It's just because you're shipping them.
Cool.
Well,
Leave my shipping alone.
to be fair, even I was hoping that they'd all have some like big bear hug to end it out, but instead, it's just her like seeing them and smiling, which is more subtle.
It was cute, but I mean, I wanted something to be like, "Yeah, I missed you." Like there was never any sorries. There was never like, "Oh, I miss you." It was
Right.
except for like inner monologues. It's like, "Oh, I really miss them, but I'm not going to accept that because I'm stubborn."
I actually kind of like that though, because like when Sentaro runs into the church, because he hears the piano and he just like stops for a second, looks at Karu, and then he just goes and starts playing, and like Karu notices him and looks at him, but they don't say anything. They're just playing.
I was hoping to have a big embrace there too, or be like, "Oh my god, I missed you!" Now kiss, but
It all comes back to this, doesn't it, Clara?
Can you just redo the ending somehow and it's a kiss at the end?
Yes.
Right before it fades to black?
But,
all right.
And you're like, I knew it!
But personally, like, you can tell, like, they know where like the good moments are, because like right as that when the music there, the opening song, when it gets to the refrain and like where the song picks up, like that's where they had been like showing just shots of like this bird flying and like shots of the island, and then it cuts to them and they're just like running down the hill sort of laughing, and it's reminiscent of like the stuff from earlier in the show when they would run down the slope, from the school. So personally, I thought that was a really, nice way to get back to sort of that brotherly relationship that they have.
Like, I loved the ending. Like, I was hoping maybe they would show, like, other characters and how they developed over the years, like in a little mini montage, like Train Kid, if he ever got married to that chick.
That could have been cool.
Like, just showing, like, people now, like, see Matsuoka, see that other kid who's knocked out, like, just these other side characters, like, see how they're doing, like, with the whole running thing, just to be like, oh, time. It transitioned.
Time happened.
Time to happen. But like, I really like the ending still because it was cute. Because they're running down the hill like they did so many times before, and
yeah,
it's cute.
And personally, for me, in general, like, I wasn't expecting to get sort of invested in the relationships in the show, and sort of like I said earlier, I think the main sort of focus is that friendship between Karu and Sentaro. And I really can't think of another anime that like captures that sort of brotherly, really close like friendship. Quite like this show did. Because you get, like, in Naruto, for example, Sasuke and Naruto have this weird sort of, close friendship that borders on shipping.
Pure hatred.
But then it's much more shown in the way it's executed, whereas this was more realistic. I thought oh, now I'm forgetting his name. The director, whose name is... What is his name? Watanabe. Thank you. Shinichiro Watanabe. I thought he did a really good job of just getting to that and making you really care about these characters and just getting to that friendship that they sort of have, and like that final moment in the last episode, where they're running down the hill, and like it just really got to me as far as like showing, how close that they were, but yet not in the creepy love sort of way, more in the...
Why did you look at me when you said that?
I don't know, Clara. Why would I do that?
I don't know.
I don't know. So, I don't know. Can you guys think of, like, any other shows that get to that sort of close friendship like this show has?
I think it's a really unique show.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The only thing I can think of, and this is maybe just because I'm a little bit coming off the heels of this, but... like Simone and Kamina and Gurren Lagann, you get that sense that they're like
true, but
that they really like believe
even though they're
in
not
each other.
But they're not, even though they're not biological brothers, they basically call each other brothers. So I consider that there's more of a brotherly relationship. And as far as that goes, like I think the show that does the best job with that is Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, I was just thinking that.
Really explores the brotherhood thing, but I can't think of too many other shows where the two characters aren't biologically related, but yet they have this really close friendship.
I mean, like, Clannad kind of has relationships like that. It's a little bit more like cliche, like, oh, punk kid gets with really sweet girl. But, like, the relationships they have with everyone else around makes this really tight family. But, like, I don't know.
Nice. And I guess just in general, closing up the discussion on this, but I mentioned earlier, like that the opening theme, when I originally watched it, I was like, okay, that's good, but I wasn't really thinking it was like that amazing. But like as I watched the show and then getting that, the use of the opening song and like that final moment, like I've rewatched the ending. I rewatched the ending bit at episode 7, the ending of the 12th episode, and listened to the main theme song like at least a dozen times since I finished the show on Sunday. Like I can't get it out of my head for whatever reason.
I feel your pain. It's been stuck in my head all day.
Fun fact: on YouTube you can find there's a full version of it.
Full version?
Yeah, because obviously the one that they have there is only a minute 30. There's like a 4-minute one, and it's even better because it's obviously more of it. I don't know who that singer is, but she's got a really amazing range.
I love the random English they throw in there. I just love random English. It's
when he
fantastic.
writes the song and then they say someday my prince will come in English, and it's so
like
cute.
someday my prince will come, and I'm like, ah, you're
replayed it.
speaking English.
Yeah, I've noticed that like in Fate Zero too, you got a bit of that where like they would speak English, and it's always a little off-putting because they're like, that's not how you say it, really.
Well, it seems like almost every anime does that. They throw in English.
Yeah,
Because it's cool to speak English or something. I don't know.
Yes,
English is
that they're
cool.
appealing to the audience.
yeah.
I like when they have the English subtitles and they're speaking English.
It's still funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what did you guys think just of the? I obviously I liked the opening theme quite a lot, and even the ending theme. Like the animation wasn't that amazing, but I thought the song itself was actually really good because when it gets to that refrain, the singer really starts using his range too, and I thought that was a nice closer for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, no, I was gone for a
concur.
second. Agreed.
All right. So yeah, in general, I mean, I think you just said it, Gretchen, like that this show is pretty unique, and in 2012, if you looked at most of the anime coming out, they're probably either slice of life like moe shows, or action based, shonen kind of shows or what have you. You don't get too many like more serious, realistic dramas, like Kids on the Slope, and I think it's a really refreshing thing to see. And it takes the whole love triangle thing, and Shinichiro Watanabe does a good job with the story. And there's obviously a great working relationship and collaboration between him and Yoko Kanno. Like just the way that they blend the music and the story together, since it's so they're so intertwined. I really think it's an impressive work for both of them that they haven't, obviously they haven't equaled something like that since Cowboy Bebop.
I really liked how they made Riko not ridiculously attractive. Like, Kaoru really kind of liked her for her personality, and it wasn't like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, I love her. It was
Right.
like, oh, she smiles and is really helpful and is really friendly and happy, and I really love that about her.
Yeah, and he called her pretty too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like he even thinks that even though she's not ridiculously attractive, like Eureka apparently was, but he still likes her a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Centauro looked at Eureka, didn't even see her before. He's like, oh, I'm instantly in love with this girl, but he really didn't know anything about her.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt
Yeah.
like that was like a doomed relationship from the start.
Yeah, well, personality-wise, Eureka didn't really speak to me that much.
She was kind of flat.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean,
little
they just talked about her
stubborn.
being pretty was like the really only thing about her.
Right. What did the rest of you guys think just of the show overall?
I loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was,
I
it
like
was a great show.
a good show based off music, but not off that alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously any music-based show lives or dies by its music. Like, the drama can be great, but if the music bits suck, then that
Oops.
kind of hurts. But having Yoko Kanno at the wheel and having it be based on jazz, which is obviously very prevalent in bebop as well, it's a match made in heaven. There's no way that she's gonna mess up. And I've also been listening to just the soundtrack in general. Like, obviously you get the bits where they're performing, and those are like some of the best bits. But even just the ambient music in the background, it's a lot of piano and jazz, just simple stuff, but it's really well done, I think. So this is definitely one of the best soundtracks I've heard in an anime in a long time. All right, so yeah, overall, I think we can all agree that this is definitely a show everyone should watch. It is on Hulu. I haven't done research into it, but I do believe there is going to be an English dub of it eventually, probably Funimation. So I may rewatch some of it to see what they do with the casting, because I think that it's one thing we didn't mention, but I thought the voice actors in general really were great in this. I didn't
they're
have any
perfect for it.
problems. All right. So real quick, I do want to have a little debate on what we should watch next time because, as we mentioned earlier, finals week is coming up. So after next week, we'll all be back at home for a good month on our winter Christmas break before we come back, which I think everyone is looking forward to. But it does beg the question of what we do for the anime for next time.
Abridged.
Right. So we have a few options that we've discussed. One is watching a collection of like various abridged series, which are all available on YouTube. You know, like I would think of stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball Z.
Abridged.
Yes.
Trying to help.
Thanks. You know, and then I'm pretty big and I mean, I don't follow abridging like that much, but I've seen like probably at least a dozen abridged series, like in general, follow them pretty closely. So I have quite a number that I think are pretty entertaining. Obviously, there's Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's DBZ and Naruto. You know,
I might with those.
Which are all the most popular ones, probably. So we've got that. We've got the anime Soul Eater, which I mentioned before. we have done the opening theme to that.
I love that one.
A number of us, including Kenneth, myself, Mark, Jeremy, and Matt Lunn, I believe, we've all seen the show already. So we have an advantage there. It is on YouTube as well as Hulu and all that. The ending is a little strange, but overall it's a great show. You know, good action. I want to say it's done by Madhouse or Bones, one of those two. They're both prolific studios. Then there's Code Geass, which we've talked about doing in the past. I know Jeremy is not a fan of it, but personally I like it quite a bit.
Jeremy's not here to vote on it.
That's true.
Oh, and I got a wall scroll. Code Geass.
Yeah, the only problem with it being that the first season of 25 episodes is all online for free. The second season is not. So it would kind of stink to do the first season, which sort of ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then not. I mean, I watched the second season
Spoiler,
through YouTube mostly, and that isn't even complete. Like there are certain episodes here and there I haven't even seen of R2. But that's an option. I think it's a really good show. As I mentioned earlier, there's Madoka Magica, which is a 12-episode series on Hulu. I think from everything I've heard, it's supposed to be really good, you know, tragic, dark story. So that sounds kind of cool. What else is there? There's also some other things we've talked about in the past, like Death Note is available online.
Which my friends have told me to watch so many times.
It's
both
like
Code Geass and Death
It's
Note.
38 episodes, I think.
Yeah, it's a third.
What else we got here? Oh, there's Angel Beats, which Clara has been asking for.
It's so good.
I think I've seen a few of those.
I've heard good things about that. We've got other shows that we've talked about in the past, like Tiger and Bunny is a recent show that looked pretty cool. Toradora is one Mark Goldsmith personally adores. There's Hellsing Ultimate, you know, lots of different possibilities. So let's just go around the table real quick. Kenny, I have a guess of which yours is going to be.
Woo! That or Soul Eater, I'm totally all right with.
Okay, Abridged or Soul Eater for Kenny. Clara, what would you prefer?
It's like Abridged, Soul Eater, Angel Beats has 5 votes from me. And
5 votes.
5.
All right.
Five.
That
You
one
get
counts
5
for me.
votes?
I get 5 votes.
Impressed.
Clara's
Because I've seen
Yeah.
it before. And
True facts.
Wait, you've seen Angel Beats or Soul
yes,
Eater?
not Soul Eater, Angel Beats.
Okay.
And I mean, I'd be up for Madoka because you said it like is a twisted version of Magic Girl
Yeah.
animes.
Well, and one thing to keep in mind, I guess, with all this is since we have 4 weeks to do the
All of them.
to do all the episodes, it might be a better idea to choose a longer one, you know, and maybe save Madoka for
Maybe do Madoka and Angel Beats.
Oh, I like that. I was going to say those two.
Yeah.
so to
girl.
do 2 series. That's an interesting thought. But then, so would we? But I'd want to have personally have a podcast dedicated to both because they're probably deep enough to.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Angel Beats has so much to talk about.
Oh really?
Promotes times 1,000.
Well, Madoka, I'm pretty sure also. I mean, I haven't gotten that far into it, but it's got quite a bit of symbolism and themes and all that good.
The bridge got
jazz.
plenty of symbolism.
Yeah, a bridge would be more of a fun, goofy thing, but
Man, every podcast is fun and goofy.
I'd enjoy
True
that.
facts.
No, Andrew, what would you personally vote for?
Abridged.
Well, regardless, I mean, I like Abridged, dude. I've seen a little bit of Abridged.
Kenny, not again.
I got too excited. I was going to cheer. Can't let me down now, man.
I've
Keeps
seen,
dropping his pop
I've seen a
filter.
little bit of Abridged, but like he said, we've got this
popping out.
month to watch something, and Abridged, we really don't need to watch like a lot of it. Like we could just be like, oh, here's a week, just watch a few episodes, and we'll come talk about it and make fun of it.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say is that maybe now is not the best time for it, but it's a good
My hair
option.
does not give me power today, guys.
Well, it depends because like if we're watching like 3, like let's say we did Naruto, DBZ, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that's a lot of Abridged.
That's Yu-Gi-Oh is close to 60 episodes. DBZ is 30, and Naruto is like 20.
It's like we're mid Sasuke arc right now. It's been like 7 months since they've updated anything.
Yeah, well, actually, the Naruto abridged thing, one of the 2 people who's doing it isn't doing it anymore.
Yeah, I think it's
so
Masako.
Masako's not doing it anymore, so that kind of throws a wrench in that. But
Stupid fish.
I wasn't that big of a fan of the Naruto abridged in the first place. So
It got funnier as it went along for me, but then I was like,
yeah. Okay. And Gretchen?
I'd probably say Madoka and Angel Beats. And I've seen all of Death Note, so I could probably do that too. And then I've started Soul Eater.
Okay. Well, I still don't know what to do. Everybody's like voted for everything at least once.
Well, my friend's gonna show me Code Geass no matter what when I get back, because he's just gonna be like,
Well,
you need to watch this.
Actually, what if we did this? What if we did Angel Beats and Madoka over the break, since there's some love for both of those. And then when we come back, we do one of, like that first week we come back, because we'll be prepared. Right, Kenny?
Yeah.
We'll do either Madoka or Angel Beats for that episode, and then the week right after we'll do another one. So that way, we're back early in the semester, which is usually sort of a time where things start off slow. That way we can start, bam, we've got 2 episodes rearing and ready to go, having finished those 2 shows.
choo choo.
That'd be cool.
All right with it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like gonna say something more like protesting against this idea.
Well, we can
We
watch
will do a
Abridged
bridge.
then.
We'll do a
I
bridge
feel like
eventually.
we can do an abridged thing, like comparing like what's good about each one.
No, I was
or,
fine.
Like,
I just want to do it eventually.
oh yeah, I would totally be up for an
wait,
abridged
we-
series.
I definitely
love
wanna
Dragon
do
Ball
abridged.
Z
Sounds great.
abridged.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine.
Well,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged is hilarious.
I'd love to do an abridged thing, and unfortunately, Cowboy Bebop isn't on online, so we can't really do that for this. But I have all the DVDs.
I watched it online.
Well, it's not available legally online.
It was legal when I did. It was a website for free anime. I watched it.
Uh-huh.
It was. I just searched free Cowboy Bebop and said freeanime.com. I was like, cool.
And that's completely legal.
It was like every show. It was just like Crunchyroll, but just not Crunchyroll.
Well, point is, it probably wasn't legal. Actually, I'm assuming Crunchyroll probably doesn't have Cowboy Bebop. I'll have to double check.
All I'm saying is you can watch it free online.
Well, okay. Point being, that both I and Matt Lunn have all of the DVDs to Cowboy Bebop, so I definitely want to do that for this podcast eventually, because it is one of the best animes ever.
And
I do
Trigun.
need to watch that.
I do want to do Trigun. That's actually a good point. That's
That's on
available
Netflix.
online.
That's on Netflix, but I don't know. I watched the first episode of that. I was kind of iffy.
You gotta keep going.
Well-
That's the thing. You gotta keep going, son. I haven't even watched the show and I know that.
With Trigun, it's interesting because it starts off very comedic and lighthearted, and then about halfway through, it has a very dramatic mood
And then I
shift,
serious.
and it gets by the third to last episode is like one of the most heartbreaking moments like
But
any anime
It's kind
ever.
of like a shot
Oh,
through the
I
heart.
hate
moment.
heartbreaking moments.
But my problem with Trigun was I watched this and like I don't like the
I'm here.
those two those characters in anime that they try to be both the funny, goofy, and then the serious, like
Oh, you mean,
awesome
like-
at the same time. Like it's the same character. I'm like, I just want character
You mean like
consistency.
Goku?
Yeah, kind of like Goku or what was
That's why I like
I
the
don't know.
abridged, because he's
But-
consistently stupid.
or
That is true. That is true.
But you get that, like, most shonen heroes are a bit like that, like Naruto also is like, he'll be goofy one moment and then he'll be super serious the next.
And he always has that one epic moment where he uses that one thing you didn't hear about till the last minute.
Yeah.
And then the guy's
Like,
like, how
I've
did
been
you
working
survive?
on this for
Plot
like the
con-
past 3 months.
Plot convenience no jutsu.
And then they're like, you survived
What
my
no
greatest
jutsu?
jutsu? Oh, what? And then they destroy the Leaf Village. Anyways.
Again and again
So-
and
Again.
again.
So yeah, I would like to do Trigun eventually, but maybe that's for next time. So
Does he have 3 guns in that?
he's got a triple barreled gun.
Aw.
No.
Dragon.
I believe.
Just making sure.
Okay, so
Well,
Angel Beats and Madoka Magica. Which one do we want to do first? Angel Beats or Madoka?
Angel Beats.
Okay.
Angel Beats.
Angel Beats first,
Sounds
Madoka
good.
Magica the
Perfect.
week after.
Yay!
Okay. All
I
right.
win.
So thank you all.
Court adjourned.
Kenny. Well, thank all of you listeners out there who have stuck through this long episode for listening to episode 20 of Shred Cells on Kids on the Slope. Thank you all of you guys for being here with me today. You can email us at techheads@avwproductions.com. You can follow us on Twitter at techheadsou. You can read our blog at avwproductions.com/techheads, I believe, or maybe it's /blog/techheads. I don't know.
If you do /seconds, it takes you right to it. I've tried.
Okay, well,
I
there
checked.
you go.
Make sure
It's on the
we're
front
saying
page anyway, so you
Validation
can read all of
by
our stuff
Kenny.
there.
I mean,
You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Schmitz.
That's awesome.
Kenneth,
I'm at Kenneth_McNulty. It's Irish, so you can try to spell it.
Clara.
mine's at Clara Lillian, no spaces, 2 L's.
All right, and Andrew.
I don't have Twitter.
Okay,
Andrew, get a Twitter so I can follow
No
you.
Twitter.
no Twitter.
Gretchen, get a Twitter so I can
You
follow
follow
you.
me, made me happy, so I followed you back.
You can follow me on Twitter, but I don't post anything. So
Dude, I got like 1,000.
You're not following me yet, Alex.
I'm not.
No.
I'll have to fix that. I'm gonna do that right after this
Can we
podcast.
have a
You better.
Scooby-Doo podcast?
Maybe
Reggie? No podcast?
maybe we could do like a Hanna-Barbera like episode. That would be kind of cool.
Johnny Bravo.
Oh my god.
My favorite episode actually was Johnny Bravo and Scooby-Doo mix. That was the best episode.
Remember when the Three
ever.
Stooges showed up?
Yeah.
I
was
didn't
the
know that
best.
existed.
They had my favorite song, The Happy Haunted Sunshine House. And the best joke in any, I'll tell you guys later, my favorite joke from any show ever is from that episode.
Nice.
I spent 2 hours trying to find it on the internet. And I did.
Oh, well, good for you. So this has been Shredded Cells episode 20, and we will see you guys in January.
Now kiss.
You have to censor television.
This product is copyright AVW Productions 2012.